Hi, YouTubies! It's me, Zachary Michael, also! Hi, hello, how are you doing? Today we're catching up on some Sarasota Tim lore. Now, when I posted this re-upload, a week ago? Was that a week ago? Well, it says I uploaded it 3 days ago, so maybe not a full week ago. I think I filmed it last Thursday, and the re-upload went up on Friday. Um, I didn't know what to title it because, it very much for me was an introduction to Sarasota Tim. If you recall, I just happened to see a video from a YouTube channel called Barium Exposure, where that person was talking about Sarasota Tim, and I'm like, this is weird. This feels like a rabbit hole we could fall down. I want to know more about this. And so I titled the video, Why Don't People Like Sarasota Tim? Because I didn't find Sarasota Tim's channel first. I found all these channels of people who were talking about Sarasota Tim, which I have to imagine kind of feels like a person who just happens to get recommended a Zachary Michael video about Amber Lynn, who has no context or no understanding of who Amber Lynn Reed is. So I don't exactly, I asked the question in the title, and I think I also asked the question in the reaction where I was like, I honestly don't know anything about this man. If we don't get all the answers in this stream, please in the comments feel free to let me know. And people in the comments let me know. People in the comments for sure were happy to let me know. And even some channels, there is a channel specifically that made a video called, their channel's Life and Vibe. I did actually bring her up, in the last stream, and I brought her up because somebody mentioned that she was a, girl world adjacent creator. Maybe she used to make content about, I think she made content about Chantal. I don't know if she made content about Amber Lynn. She does have a video about glitter and lasers, Anna O'Brien, which is funny because Miss Vicky, who's another Sarasota Tim creator, did a video where she was I've watched also, by the way, so much more Sarasota Tim content since the last video, by the way. But I watched a video. I enjoy Miss Vicky because there's something, y'all know I love, an older white lady. There's something that feels like home about watching an older white lady just talk about stuff. It feels a lot like my aunts. It feels a lot like my mom, my grandma. But anyways, in one of her videos, she was wearing one of them glitter and lasers Jolliday sweaters. You know, the ones where I was considering getting one of those Jolliday sweaters, but then I didn't. What was I trying to say? Where was I going with this? Oh, well, anyways, Life and Vibe, which I realized the vibe is VIBE, as in an abbreviation for Virginia Beach. Not like she's just vibe, she's just giving vibes, she's just a vibe. But life in Virginia Beach. Anyway, she made this whole 27-minute long video to respond to my video to let me know concerns that people have about him. And I guess what I will say about all of this is, I think that there probably are legitimate concerns about Sarasota Tim. I think where I started with things was not necessarily a full picture of all the things from Sarasota Tim that are, wrong with him. And I think even, I know my last re-upload was an hour and a half long, and this one will also probably be very long. But, so I know maybe people didn't get all the way to the end, but by the end of my last reaction, I was like, oh, there's definitely something off with this guy. He's out here comparing himself to Donald Trump, comparing himself to Jesus Christ. This is weird. That's weird behavior. Can you free Marsha for one last yap? Oh, she did send some bits. Marsha, thanks so much for the bits. I'm not gonna turn the alerts on, but thank you so much for sending the bits. And Becca Brownie, thanks for gifting a sub to Naire. I don't know how that's pronounced, but I hope I did it justice. So, I will say, I did come around. I have also additionally watched some videos that I think have given a little bit more context. I think with some of the creators like Barium Exposure, Miss Vicky, even that video we watched from the channel called Darling, it's hard to just jump in and get the full context. And I imagine it would be very similar to somebody who jumped into an Amberlynn Reid video that I do, because when I make Amberlynn videos on my main YouTube channel, I'm not retelling the lore every single time I do a reaction to her, right? So like, it's very possible people come in and they're just like, wow, this person seems crazy. It seems like he just hates Amberlynn, which I think you all know is not the case. Like, it is founded on a lot of years of watching her and knowing her behaviors and actions and things like that on the internet. Hate is a strong word, but like, I obviously am very critical of her. So, does that all make sense? I'm asking the Twitch chat, like, they already know all this. But I hope that makes sense. Because I also got just, like, lots of new people. Lots of new people from this, like, very niche corner of Sarasota Tim that like, have no context of who I am or what's going on or anything like that. So, when I asked in this video, why don't people like Sarasota Tim, I wasn't trying to necessarily suggest that there's no reason to not like him. It's a question of genuine curiosity from my end. But I thought today we could get started. I have a few different things pulled up. So I feel like we can maybe read a few comments on my video that might help explain it, because I appreciate that people took time to try to explain some of the lore. I do want to share one part of this Miss Vicky video, because she was talking about me for a little bit in it, and I just thought that the way that she talked about me was so funny. So I do want to watch it just for the giggles. And then depending on time, my dear colleague, YouTube colleague, lymphedema reaction channel extraordinaire, Colin Mockery, shared this in my Discord. And it's from the same channel that did the AI slam poetry. But it is actually so informative. Like, I felt like I learned so much from this video that I was like, oh my gosh, we should watch this together. And then I really want to watch, I haven't watched any, so I have watched this video. I haven't watched anything about this video, and I'm so sorry to Life and Vibe. This is just the pause screen with your eyes closed. I apologize for that. But I also want to see what she has to say. Because she does seem to know a lot about it, and I am open to hearing all information. But I did get a little nervous because I scrolled down in the comments for 2 seconds and then I left. Because the pinned comment is from Colin Mockery right here. And he said, Tim popped up in Zach's recommended and they just decided to check him out. We just goof around over there, but a lot of us have been having fun going down the rabbit hole. And then, so Colin's comment, stunning, amazing. This one, and I don't know if this is about me or not, but this one said, I'm so tired of people calling others a bully when they are only telling the truth. That is called accountability. Without accountability, the world goes to hell. And I was like, did I call anybody a bully? I don't think I did. And then I got nervous. Because I was like, I don't think I called anybody a bully. I do. The one thing that and I think I even said this in my last stream that I regretted this. The one thing I regret is that I said something along the lines of like, oh, these people just seem jealous. And I regret it because, and I think I pretty quickly followed up in my video or my Twitch stream about it. No, Tim was saying there are internet bullies. Oh, I see. Okay. I I do regret that just because, like, there have been many people who have said that I'm just jealous of Amberlynn Reed, and I'm like, couldn't be further from the truth, divas. Like, could not be further from the truth. So anyways, then I was like, let me stop reading comments. I'll just watch her video and see what she has to say. But let me put some chapstick on, and then let's read some comments from my video. Just a few before we get into things. Because I do appreciate that people took time to respond. Oh, you know what's crazy? I didn't even notice, but this person right here, Truth Be Told 6942, is the same person that made this comment that I just told you all I was worried about. Oh, yeah, some people were writing novels, by the way. Some people were writing novels in the comment section. But Truth Be Told said, Tim admitted to only working 10 hours a week his entire life. He says anyone that works full-time is a prison job, which we did talk about the prison jobs last time. This is Grandma's Pocketbook. She says, I'm an OP Sarasota Tim hater. I had a channel making mostly parody videos about him, but also exposing some of his lies. He got my channel removed. Why do we not like him? My 3 major reasons. 1, he grifts primarily off of seniors, a vulnerable population. 2, he fraudulently, parentheses, allegedly, in parentheses, took unemployment, PPP loans, and an EIDL loan. I have no idea what that one is. No one was entitled to all 3, and then he used them for personal purchases. 3, he targeted me and had a buddy of his call and threaten me. I still have the voicemails. That's crazy. He knew what he was doing. He used the subjects of Social Security, Medicare, minimalism, and God to attract the kind of people he knew he could take advantage of. He uses anyone he comes across and befriends like a wallet, having them pay for his meals, give him a place to stay, gifting him things, etc. The man dropped out of high school at 16 and married a 26-year-old with 2 children. He himself has 3 children with 3 different women. One of his sons had a restraining order against him. He lived with a woman who was still married and whose husband died when he was run over by his own truck. Oh my God, she's just fully saying the man's name. And she inherited everything. There's so much not to like about this man. The only thing he learned how to do well in his life is con people. I have heard about T-Bucket Tammy. I don't know how she got the name T-Bucket. I don't know how he got the name she got the name T-Bucket, but I have heard a little bit about T-Bucket Tammy. I have. I don't know why it sounds like maybe he was manipulated or taken advantage of if he was 16 when he married a 26-year-old woman. So that sounds like a lot for, like, 16-year-olds cannot consent to relationships with adults, just for the record. I don't know what this is all about. Like, I'm just reading what's in the comments of my video. So, like, I don't know the validity of this. Sorry for the sirens. There you go. She'll tell the story in the video. She being Life and Vibe. Okay, good to know. This person said, Heaven Can't Wait 1218 says, he had no employees. He closed his business down. He was a door-to-door salesman selling oil change coupons. I've heard a lot about the oil change coupons as well. I don't know what that's about, but I have heard a lot about it. Gail Blair says, okay, boomer here that has an unhealthy obsession with Sarasota Tim and the hater channels. I found him when I was considering retiring. He was living in a tiny camper for free on a friend's property and working a part-time job. It was interesting hearing your take on things and reading the comments. Essentially, the hater channels do not like him and say He gives financial advice that could harm potential retirees, took COVID loans that he shouldn't have, claims to be a minimalist but is not, e-begs, is a narcissist, is a false preacher, and does not walk life as a Christian, lies, and is a deadbeat dad. So there you go. There you go. Let's see. This one says, is that, oh, sorry about that. This one, I might have to make it smaller just so that we can see the whole message. And then maybe this will be the last one we read, because a lot of it's starting to get a little repetitive. But Tim had one big video that went viral and got him 2 million views. It went to his head and his wallet. Tim spent most of his life hiding in different states from paying child support by being self-employed selling oil coupons for just enough cash to go out and play each and every day. He brags about it, yet gets irritated when taxpayer-funded things like roads are bad. He is obsessed with his life of RVs, trucks, barbecue, and Western TV. He talks bad about people who work 40 hours per day to support their family. So, there's a little bit of that for y'all. I think from the things I've watched, it does seem to be summed up in that, like, he is trying to sell this life of minimalism and live a life of minimalism when he's not actually doing it himself. And there are lots of vulnerable, like, seniors who watch his content who might, like, take his advice and potentially ruin parts of their lives by doing it. Which, like, ultimately is still, you know, their responsibility as fully formed adult human beings. But I get where the concern comes from, obviously, right? That seniors are susceptible, I think, to grifts, scams, etc. So Miss Vicky, as I said, was it's somebody I enjoy. This is just her channel in general. As you can see, I have been watching some of her content, not all of it, but some of it. I don't know why it doesn't say that I watched this one, because I did watch this one. She's wearing Glitter and Laser's ugly holiday sweater in it, and she talks about it and how she thinks it's cute. And she also talks about her hair being inspired by Kathy Hilton from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, which I thought was so funny. But this video caught my eye because it said, "Is Sarasota Tim a gilf? A grandpa I'd like to fuck?" And I just thought that was funny because I knew that I kind of, like, we had that conversation. I don't know if I called him a gilf in our stream, but we did have the poll about if we would put him on our Hear Me Out cakes. And so I wanted to see what she had to say about that. And so just this very last part of her video I think is so funny. And so let's watch it. We had that conversation before we knew about his personality. It's true. I think on looks alone, like, I could see why somebody might think he was a gilf. Or, like, why they might find him attractive. I think once you learn about him, as even just watching the one video we watched, I think very quickly sent me into, like, that's a no for me, dog. All right, let's see what she has to say. Also, let me make sure. Let me know. We can adjust the volume if necessary.
But then again, he don't. And one more thing, and then I'm going to close out this video. And there's a reason I'm saying this at the end. Is that some people are saying that, and this is just allegedly, that Bev and JJ are SWINGERS. And I'm
okay. Bev and JJ are are Sarasota Tim's friends that live in the villages, which also maybe at some point we need to have a whole separate conversation about the villages, which they do. Like, Miss Vicky talks a lot about the villages. I brought up Sarasota Tim to my friends Anna and Diego this weekend while we were couch rotting. And they're from Florida, and so they're familiar with the villages. And my friend Diego is like, Zach, there's a whole Vice documentary on the villages. And it's like, apparently just like crazy, like, place where like old white folks go to retire. And like a lot of them are crazy MAGA supporters. And there are things like swinging. Like, there's a bunch of swingers down there swinging around. So we could probably have a whole separate conversation about the villages. The villages is like a retirement community, ? In Florida. And I think it's where JJ and Bev live, or at least they allege JJ and Bev lived. I know that Miss Vicky doesn't actually think that he's in the villages, that he just wants to make it seem like he's living the lifestyle of the villages. Because I watched her talk in a whole video where she's like, you know, the villages, like, you pay a lot to live there, and it's not just for like the living accommodations, it's for like the lifestyle and the party. But anyways, lots to discuss there. But anyways, Bev and JJ are Sarasota Tim's friends, swinger friends, maybe allegedly, ? Who live in the villages, for context.
Spelling it for a reason. And that's why Tim has hooked up with him. I don't know that. I don't want to know. But it's out there. It's out there that Tim has been that way all his life.
Has been that way all his life. What does that mean, Vicky? Use your words, diva.
Know that. Now, if you watch that video that I shared this morning from the younger man
That's me that she's talking about, just for context.
Is talking about it. I mean, he plainly says that he could see someone thinking Tim is a GIF. And you know, the saying, you know, MILF, Mom, I'd like to, you fill in the blank. Then you have GIF, Grandpa, I'd like to. So, and he's of the same persuasion. We sometimes joke about Tim.
Now, what does that mean, Miss Vicky? Use your words. Use your words. Say it. I like to suck dick. I got dicks falling out my mouth. But also, are y'all joking about Tim being gay? Are y'all talking, and you all think Tim is gay? When I was watching this on my own for the first time, I literally just lost it. I was like, Miss Vicky wants to call me the F slur so bad. She just wants to say the F slur so bad. And I'm like, girl, just say it. I'll give you a pass. I'll give you a pass. You want to call me the F slur, Vicky? You know what? I'm so obsessed with you right now. You get one free F slur. Only once. You can only use it to say it specifically about me. You want to call me a bundle of sticks so bad. So bad. And then I'm like, are y'all really joking about, are there rumors? Are there rumors that Tim is gay? Like, I need to know. I need to know. I'm joking about the past, by the way. Vicky, don't say the F slur. You don't actually have permission. Zach is Troye Sivan and she's Charlie XCX. She has permission. Let's not go too far. Let's not go too far. Reefer Madness 888 says, I think Tim might be gay. Well, I'm not one to speculate on somebody's sexuality. People have said he's had girlfriends and things like that, so at a minimum he would be bisexual, but... And you know, if he's out here swinging, or if he's participating in swinger activities, I don't know how you can be a swinger if, like, you're not in a relationship. Although, is he in a relationship with T-Bucket Tammy? I got more to learn still. But let her finish her thought.
I mean, and we joke about it. We don't mean anything by it. I don't have any issue with anybody. Live your life.
True.
I'm not judging you for your life. I'm just...
Thank you for not judging me for sucking dick, Miss Vicky. I appreciate that.
Saying that it's out there. The way he presents himself, you can't help but suspect it. All right, I'm gone. I'll talk to y'all later. Love you. Bye.
Oh, this is too much. Is that her? is that Miss Vicky? Also, this Charlie Gold thumbnail is out of control. This Charlie Gold thumbnail is too much. That was just so funny to me. That was so funny to me. It was just so funny to me. That's a passive way of being very judgmental. It really did feel like a little judgmental. It's like ain't nothing wrong with sucking a little dick, but you know what? Tim's giving that vibe that's what he does. Ain't nothing wrong with a little butt stuff, but I am just saying that it kind of seems like that might be what Tim likes to do. Please, Twitch warned me and asked me if I really wanted to send the message Gucci on display. Oh god, this is too much. This stream is already out of control. Yeah, like, would it matter to her if she didn't have negative thoughts about it? Yeah, that's what I'm feeling, to be honest. Ain't nothing wrong with sucking a big dick either. True. True. I feel like this is gonna get demonetized. I've talked a little too much about dick sucking. I've talked a little tiny bit too much about dick sucking today. If I remember correctly, Tim ain't got no broke dick. Oh, he did say that, didn't he? He did say that in a video. He really did. Time and place. 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 And you did it at my birthday dinner. You'll need to bleep a lot of words. I'm not going to. I'm not going to do all that. I'm not going to do all that. All right, so you know what? I think we've already been filming for nearly 30 minutes. So I'm not gonna watch this, but I will say this was a very informative video from Darling. If I can remember, I'll try to link it down below so you can go watch it in your own time. Very informative. And it's also, I think we'll just skip it because I feel like it's very possible that Life and Vibe will cover a lot of these things in her video as well. And her video's like 27 minutes long, like I already mentioned. It's not necessarily like hee hee ha ha funny like the slam poetry video was. It's like literally like, here are the facts. Like, here are the facts that to get out of paying $600 more a year in rent, he bought a several $1,000 RV. To get out of paying $600 more in rent, he paid several $1,000s for a new truck, etc. So it just gives some like facts behind why people are like, you're not living a minimalist lifestyle. Like, none of this is saving you money on anything. So there you go. Here's the video from Life and Vibe. We didn't do a 69 thing to get ready. If y'all are ready to watch Miss Life and Vibe, put some 69s in the chat and we'll get to. We'll get to divas. We absolutely will. We absolutely will. Oh, look at all these 69s in the chat. Roxanne saying I dropped mine. Well, if you drop them without me asking, that's against the rules. Banned. No, nobody's getting banned. I'm just feeling so silly and goofy today. I'm feeling so silly and goofy. I'm silly and goofy. I'm a goofy girl. Just a silly and goofy girl. Some of y'all haven't sat through the 10 minutes of silence, and it shows. Was it 10 minutes that I made you all sit in silence when you were getting on my nerves? When y'all were acting the fuck up? It was so long. Well, it was long to prove a point, to make you sit with your actions and behaviors. It was to make you sit with your actions and behaviors. All right, let's get to.
So I know a lot of different reaction channels, often known as hater channels, making commentary and reactions around the YouTube personality Sarasota Tim. Had a good surprise the other day because a much larger channel actually decided to cover one of Sarasota Tim's videos along with other videos.
I'm kind of curious. Let me see what she sounds like a little bit sped up, just for fun.
From other reaction channels such as Darling and Atomic Sage, who made...
Yes, she is referring to me. This is specifically a response to my video. So the title of this video is 10 Concerns About Sarasota Tim, Response to Zachary Michael.
In our community here who watch a lot of content around Sarasota Tim, and those of us who've made commentary around Sarasota Tim have, are very familiar with these particular channels. So it seems that Zachary Michael and another YouTube creator by the name of Colin Mockery, it seems that I think potentially Colin had said take a look at Sarasota Tim, or Sarasota Tim had somehow ended up in Zach Michael's in their YouTube algorithm, and that kind of, I think also a conversation potentially had ensued with Colin Mockery, maybe, something of that combination, that this gentleman seems to have a lot of older YouTube commentators, older as in age, making kind of commentary, and as Zachary kept trying to say that everybody really seems to hate him. Now,
well, it does kind of seem like people seem to hate him. It does seem like people seem to hate him. Also, shout out to Colin, who is a world-renowned lipedema reaction channel. But also just a Zachary Michael viewer and Twitch fan. Who actually I don't think had anything. I don't think Colin, I don't know how she thought that I think I did mention you in that video, but Colin was correct in the comment of this video where he was correct in saying that I just had a barium exposure video recommended to me, and we just kind of went from there.
Hate is a very strong word, and for myself, I don't necessarily hate on a personal level Sarasota Tim.
You know what? That's fair, because a lot of people think I hate Amberlynn, and I don't necessarily hate her. I don't care for a lot of her behaviors, and I don't care for the ways that she sometimes talks to me. But I don't know that I hate her. I do sometimes think I hate Chantal. She's just such a nasty person. But I guess some people could say the same about Amberlynn. I don't know that I feel strong enough about anything related to Sarasota Tim to hate him. In general, I don't hate a lot of people, so I could see why she would have an aversion to saying that she hates anybody. Zach, see, now you're no longer reacting. You're engaging in damaging behavior like all the rest. If you don't know the context for Maya's comment that I just read out loud, that is something that old Amberlynn just recently DM'd me, and we're trying to make a little copy pasta meme over here. You're engaging in damaging behavior.
Though I have to say, there are many things about who he is that I really find to be not with a lot of integrity as far as how he is on YouTube. And I think that's really where my problem lies for me. And so I kind of thought of 10 different things, and I'll try to make this quick.
Love.
But I did have to say, I did fangirl a little bit before I get into my 10 things as to why I feel that Tim is a little bit problematic in response to, you know, Zachary, and helping them understand why Tim is not somebody that is, you know, that should be kind of, people should be warned about maybe some of his actual objectives when he's creating content. Now, he has a right to make money, and
I will just say before she gets into this, it's always so sweet when another channel is like, oh my gosh, fangirling over Zachary Michael. That is very sweet. I appreciate it. That's very kind. I just love mess on the internet, and you're covering some mess on the internet, so I appreciate you doing it. I appreciate you doing this work to help educate me. I know that's not necessarily your job, so I appreciate the education that I'm getting here today.
And Sarasota Tim has a right to put out 10 videos a day, and he has to understand that only 3 of those will be pushed out to his subscribers. We don't know how he classifies his content. I have a suspicion. I know there's a way for me to actually go into and find out exactly how he tags his content. For example, I'll be putting this under people in vlogs, and you know, Sarasota Tim could be potentially saying that his advice is financial, and therefore he would get more AdSense money. And he puts out a lot of videos, he gets a lot of views by the end of the day, and he's making very good money. And so I think that, and nobody is stopping him from doing that. But how he obtains some of his material possessions, I think, is where we have problems. So let's get to number 1.
Leah, let's get into it. Somebody in the chat said, I don't know if she's finished a thought or sentence. And like, work. I can relate to that. I can relate to it. But I'm glad she has some bullet points, and hopefully that helps.
And that's Sarasota Tim's lack of integrity. Oh, I was going to say, I had fangirl about Zach Michael, actually calling out my channel, Life and Vibe. They also mentioned Miss Vicky and their channel. And but they did not say anything derogatory, but they did read a comment about how I did leave a comment on the Sarasota Tim video that Zachary Michael made a reaction video to. And they said that I'm a nurse and I shouldn't be a bully, and I do not bully Sarasota Tim. Okay, I just want to make sure that's clear.
Wait, I said that, or somebody else said that about her? I didn't say that about her, right? I just don't remember. that reaction was like an hour and a half long. I don't think I wouldn't have said that. I don't think I would have said that. Okay, not me, okay? I would not say that. I don't think providing critique of somebody on the internet is bullying. She's saying someone commented that. Okay, gotcha. Oh, probably whenever I was reading the comments on Tim's video. Probably when I was reading, yeah, because I did read through some comments on Tim's video, and now that you're saying all of this, I feel like it's very possible that somebody commented on his video saying she was a bully and she shouldn't be because she's a nurse or whatever. The more I'm talking about it, the more I'm remembering that.
This is my response to Zachary Michael. All right. So the first reason why I have a problem with Sarasota Tim is, 1, his lack of integrity.
Okay.
It's really because he has been known to have acquired a couple of years ago, and we'll get into like, I think point number, it's going to come up in one of the points, is that he did acquire these PPP and EIDL loans, that video has now been deleted off of YouTube. So that's a whole nother issue. And so he lacks integrity, because when he comes out now, his new narrative is, I prepared, I saved, I worked really hard my whole life, and now I have the fruits of my labors here in my mid-60s, and now I have a YouTube channel, and I'm going to tell you how to achieve this lifestyle. And in reality, Tim's lifestyle was very different from that throughout his time.
Okay, so it sounds like the PPP loan, the PP-poo-poo loan seems to be a continued point of contention. It sounds like he maybe acknowledged at one point that he got the PPP poo-poo-poo-poo loan, and he's deleted videos surrounding it after people criticize it. I think he mentioned the PPP loan in the video we watched. But yeah, I think that that's all suspicious. I think that really is suspicious, for sure, for sure. It sounds like it helped him fund some things in his life, for sure.
So his narrative is false, and I think that's where he's very dishonest. He seemed to have gained a lot of his wealth, if you may, throughout the time when we were having a crisis globally, and he took advantage of a lot of loans up towards, I believe, over 21,000 on PPP, allegedly.
I'm sure you can also look that up, because I remember people doing that about other creators. Like, I feel like people did that for, like, Jeffree Star, Kim Kardashian, things like that. So that is probably public record who got those loans. I feel like people did it for, like, even Marjorie Taylor Greene or whatever.
And it's definitely documented and I have the SB loan numbers if you want to take a look.
There you go. There you go.
58,000 in the IDL, which, fair. But he never kept a business open. And the thing that he did was sell oil change coupon books to door to door. And when
I need the tea on the oil change coupon books. like that sounds like some MLM pyramid scheme nonsense.
It saturated the market. He moved on. He tries to say he was a marketing entrepreneur and so forth, and that is not the case. He says he worked 2 to 3 hours a day, 2 to 3 days a week. He did as little work as possible. So I think there's a lack of integrity, because now he's trying to say he prepared and saved. His social security money is, we understand, based on a previous spouse and not anything to do with his own contributions. So him trying to say he worked hard and did all these things, it's not true. And
that does also make sense now that they're bringing up the, like, context of him working and things like that. It's like, why do we care if he worked a lot prior? But, like, if his whole big viral video on the internet is about how he's collecting Social Security at 62 or whatever, Social Security is supposed to be based on, like, what you've contributed over time from working and stuff like that to Social Security. So I think now this makes a lot more sense that people are like, if you are only working a few hours a week selling these oil change coupon books or whatever, then you're not really, like, how are you collecting Social Security? It sounds like they have found other things that suggest that, it's like from a spouse or a former spouse or a spouse that passed away. I don't know the details exactly, but so yeah, so very, very fascinating. Good to know.
So that's a lack of integrity. If he wants to be in an RV, so forth, that's fine. But he needs to be honest with that money that really helped him acquire was, one, probably the money that he earned from the one very big YouTube video, which would be great if we actually knew how much he made from that, since he's supposedly a financial channel, but we'll never hear that information. And secondly, from loans, these 21 plus over 58. So it's getting up in the $80-some thousand range of loans that Tim took. And potentially with falsified paperwork, which could allegedly, in my opinion, be for wire fraud. And yes, he has been reported.
Wait, I need the wire fraud details. What's the wire fraud that's happening? His spouse's retirement money. She was a teacher, wasn't she? Someone had stated to me, right? I think I saw someone say that she was a teacher. Fuck if I know. Fuck if I know. I love that it's like, wire fraud, and no worries, he has been reported. Let's fucking go. Let's go.
Number 2 is Tim's religious manipulation. So Tim has
I am down for talking about the religious manipulation, because that's like half the reason that I'm an atheist. Like, I felt so manipulated as a young person by people who were religious and, like, trying to use it to, like, make me feel some type of way about myself or others. Like, let's hear about that.
Habit of having these videos called Crushing It for Christ. He also wants to talk about blessings all the time, but blessings are basically financial contributions that Tim's subscribers make to Tim, which is there's nothing wrong with that. But the difference is that Tim hasn't opened up channel memberships. He does not do, like, chats or thanks or any of that.
Wait, are people making, like, tithings to him? Are people giving him tithings? And he's calling them blessings? Interesting. I honestly, truly, here's the thing. If people want to give their money, like, I have over time changed a lot of my feelings about all kinds of stuff, right? Like, I used to feel, like, very strongly about GoFundMes and, like, what people did with them, things like that. And, like, over time, I'm just like, you know what? If you want to give money to anybody on the internet, give them money, and you're making that choice on your own, and you have to feel okay about giving that money to people for whatever reason. So like, if he's not promising them like channel memberships or extra content or things like that for people sending them money, I don't necessarily see an issue with that. You know, like, people send me money, and I don't have YouTube channel member. I mean, I guess you mostly send it through the Twitch though, and like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying though? Like, that's also why I don't offer channel memberships, because I'm not trying to like make extra content for people who pay channel memberships. I don't know. Anyways, sorry, I got a little bit on a tangent there. It is fucked to me though if he's like doing it under the guise of like religion. Like, that feels weird to me.
Those types of things with YouTube. He does affiliate links, and he does buy me a coffee, and he has PO boxes, which we don't know for this Christmas. He did last year, where he has his subscribers send him, you know, gift certificates and so forth. Now, I have received buy me a coffee too, and it's almost a parody to Tim, and obviously I appreciate it. I am in graduate school studying to be a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner, so I am coming from this angle of somebody who is studying psychiatric mental health. And so I do have concerns about the manipulative tactics that Tim uses, one with religion, to say that he's paying it forward, and so he gets people to donate money to him. And in reality, that money does not go to people. A little bit, but it's only in the line of a McDonald's. And he gets upset if they don't recognize that he bought them a cup of coffee. They need to toot their horns and say thank you. But he also...
So that is... I could see that being manipulative, right? Like, if you're saying, like, if you send me this money, I'm going to pay it forward to others, and the pay it forward to others is buying the person behind you a coffee. Like, that feels like it's manipulative.
Also has a price limit. So he'll ask ahead of time, how much is it? And if he feels it's too much, which is about $12, then he will not pay it forward. But he gets a lot of financial donations from his subscribers, which he takes away off the YouTube platform.
Which also, can I just say, the concept of like, I think we've talked about this before on Twitch. And this might be a controversial opinion, but I don't necessarily think that it makes you, like, a great person for... It's, like, nice, I guess, to pay for the person behind you. But, like, the reality is if somebody's in line at the McDonald's getting their double quarter pounder with cheese, like, they probably are already going there knowing that they can afford that, right? Like, they probably already were planning on spending that money. And so it's not like you're... It's not like you're doing some kind of amazing, stunning thing for that person. We watched a video where he did that last night. The order behind him was $15, and he said, "No, can I pay for another one?" And he paid for someone's coffee instead. That's funny. That's funny. That's so silly. How are you gonna pick and choose how you pay it forward? I've had that happen to me, so I just pay for the car behind me instead. Yeah, and then it just turns into a trickle down thing where it's like, I guess it goes all the way until somebody doesn't have a car behind them or something. I don't know. I just don't think it's like, you know, if we're talking about philanthropy and generosity, it's not that big of a gesture of kindness.
And that's where he gets into that sort of messy relationship about the friends that you couldn't quite understand. So there's a lot of, you know, and Tim is not somebody who has lived a particular, unless he, you know, he uses the fact that he found Jesus and stuff, but a lot in Tim's life says that that's not the case. He does not follow a lot of Christian doctrines unless it suits him. Very much the prosperity gospel and planting seeds and so forth. So that's where Tim is problematic, in my opinion. Number 3, Tim has a lack of integrity. Oh, did I say lack of integrity already?
You did.
Well, it should have been lack of honesty. Both the same.
Yeah, it's giving synonym. It's giving synonym.
lack of honesty. He says he's no longer drinking, but we have things of him coming out. He stopped talking about that ever since he got caught leaving a Key West bar recently with Miss Tammy. Oh, and there's a whole deep thing about the fact that Tim had a relationship with somebody who was married, and we don't know everybody's business, but we also know that the spouse of the lady that he had a relationship died in very dramatic and traumatic circumstances at the start of this year. Was run over by his own truck while he was working on it.
So is this is T-Bucket Tammy and T-Bucket Tammy's husband? Is this what we sound like to other people when explaining Amberlynn? It's possible. It's possible. It really is possible. I bet this is what I sound like to my friends in real life who ask me about Amberlynn Reed. She wants us to know he has no integrity, none. Yeah, she has reiterated that a couple times. She really has.
And then Tim shortly afterwards left the state. So we're just going to leave it there because that's a whole conspiracy theory. But
yeah, that sounded like speculation. Are you suggesting that Tim had something to do with it and he had to leave the state? That feels like a lot. That feels like a lot. It sounds like they might be suggesting that Tim or T-Bucket Tammy. I hope T-Bucket Tammy is not offensive. I just saw people calling her that. I have no idea what it means. I have no concept of what T-Bucket Tammy means at all.
It's just, that's kind of the drama that goes around Tim. So there's a lot of stuff. He was, for his first...
I think it means meth head. What does tea and buckets have to do with meth? Maybe I'm too naive and too pure. Maybe I'm too naive and too pure. I don't know shit about it. I've never heard that in reference to meth, please. Tea is slang for meth? I mean, they could call her Teabag Tammy, so it could be worse. Well, at least it's not Sea Bucket Tammy. What does Sea Bucket Tammy mean? I've recently been showing your videos to a lot of people, and yes, I feel like I sound like this when I'm recapping the lore. All of this is too much. I'll just call her Tammy. I shouldn't be saying shit I don't know. I could be saying a fucking slur over here right now.
Marriage was when he was 16 years old. I understand because allegedly he had a relationship with somebody who was a teacher in his school, of which she became pregnant, and they had to marry. And so
he became pregnant? She became pregnant. Also, that's grooming. Also, that doesn't make Tim a bad person. Just so we're clear, that doesn't make Tim a bad person. He was underage. He was being taken advantage of by an adult who shouldn't have been doing that. Just so we're on the same page about that. Hi, Lisa's Halls. Good to see you, friend. Good to see ya.
We don't know if Tim continued with high school at that point and got his high school or did a GED or what happened. So
okay, well, if he didn't finish high school or get a GED, like, that would be understandable for going through something like that.
Hard to know. But, and he's had a few wives. And there's nothing to say that you can't have a number of marriages. But, in the hindsight, when you're somebody who's studying psychiatry and you're kind of looking at patterns of behaviors into somebody's life, and you're seeing these types of actions from somebody very young, that calls into, a lot of, and it wasn't because that was acceptable at the time. I can promise you that would have not been that would have been anything but acceptable. Along with the habit of number 4.
Wait, of course it's not acceptable, but that's not his problem. Maybe I'm missing something here. Because, like, granted, there's lots of things that I have seen otherwise that make me not, like, necessarily think that Tim is a great person, but that in particular isn't a problem. That sounds like that's trauma that he probably experienced. Is she saying that trauma of that maybe affected his adult life / relationships? I mean, that might be possible. Like, we could have that conversation. But yeah, maybe I'm misunderstanding her, but I certainly think it sounds like he was like a victim in this situation.
Now, you were confused, Zach, as to why Tim has friends, and the friends are not people that seem to be friends that he's known throughout his life, or people that he knows offline.
Yeah, this is true. This part, I was so confused because he was referencing these people and he was talking about them as friends, but then he was like, it's been so great getting to know them or something like that. Like, the reason that I've enjoyed spending time with them and meeting them is because blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, well, you've been talking about them like they've been your friends for a long time.
IRL. These friends are people that Tim has met as subscribers through his channel. And it's not to say that YouTube content creators can't meet up with subscribers IRL. But the difficulty here is that he actually like stays in their houses. He films their houses, their vehicles. He meets up with them on holiday, but not like a cruise organized by anything. I mean, just goes to, there's definitely a questionable line between Tim and his relationship with his subscribers and kind of the cult-like adoration they have for him, in my opinion.
Sure. I get it to the extent of like, I understand where the questioning of like, because we saw that in Tim's comments. There are some people like, Tim can do no wrong, right? There are some people are like, Tim is amazing. I don't understand why these haters think that he has all these problems. There's clearly nothing wrong with him. And I think you could probably say that for a lot of creators on the internet. I don't know that it's necessarily inherently a bad thing that he's like met people. It sounds like maybe there are some questionable boundaries on maybe both sides. Maybe, but like if I decide I want to meet one of my favorite YouTubers from the internet, like that doesn't make either of us on either side of it a problem. I mean, like, I'm also saying from my perspective, like at this point, I'm not meeting any new subscribers intentionally, like to be friends. Like my Fortnite friends that did start, all of them mostly started as viewers. Like, I have met almost all of them, and that's about the line I'll draw. like I'm not trying to be friends with with subscribers or really even other YouTubers to that extent. But I don't know that necessarily is a concern. I also wouldn't stay at their houses even when I went to visit my Fortnite friends. They offered to like split a hotel with me, and I went and stayed in my own hotel room because I was like, you never know what people might be up to, and I just like to have my own space. So I was like, y'all can share a hotel room if you want, but I will be staying by myself. So to that extent, I guess like, it sounds like he's doing a lot of things I probably personally wouldn't do with subscribers.
And how most content creators would manage their relationships with their community. And so I think that, to me, is something that I feel is very manipulative, and it can be seen as something that is serving for Tim, because if Tim isn't receiving anything from these people, then he kind of moves on. He did. He moved on very quickly from his visit in Laughlin, where he was not receiving anywhere near the free hotel stays, the meals, the golf games, the shirts, the gifts that he had received. But he received...
I get that then. I get it if there's like this expectation that they give him something, because I do remember, I don't know if it was a video I watched with you all or a video I watched on my own, But there's one video where he talked extensively. I don't remember if it was Timmy Appleseed or Johnny Vegas, but one of them was like giving him free breakfast, was gonna hook him up with a free dinner, free this, a free that, and I'm like, that's a lot. Tim loves to receive. Maybe that's what Miss Vicky meant by like he gives gay vibes, because he likes to receive. Hashtag support bottoms.
A lot of money for the hurricane in Florida, so don't get me wrong, folks. And I think the reason why he probably was so quick to return back towards Florida was in order to be able to stay at JJ's house in the Villages, in my opinion.
Old JJ, okay.
We also have questions as to whether or not he set up a PO box. So just take a look at his description box, guys. Or maybe he's emailed it to people secretly, so we don't know about it. And that comes to number 5, and a term that obviously comes from Judge Joe Mathis is Tim's dry begging. And it's not that we don't all have super chats or super thanks or go live and get pays and super thanks that way, or gifts or any of these things, because that's obviously how content creation survives. But there is a question: is one, is Tim actually giving worthwhile, good content to his subscribers? What is he just pretty much films, uploads, spits it out? There's very little thought behind anything that Tim does, so that's kind of part of where it becomes questionable. But
I don't know. Like, I see a lot of people in the girl world side of the internet also have problems with like e-begging, dry begging ? I don't necessarily know if dry begging is something different than e-begging. Maybe y'all can let me know in the chat. But I think the thing is like, are you asking for money in a questionable way that's like misleading your audience, this, that, the other? Like, I think we can have some questions about that. Her point here about like getting money for content, like for low level content or like low quality content, I think it's like, well, if people want to give him money for his low quality content, like that's their prerogative of what they do with their money. Like, if he's just saying, hey, send me money, and people do it, like, ultimately, I think that's on the people that send it to him. Like, I don't know, Dry begging is basically mentioning you need something in a passive way, I believe. Okay, yeah. I think people used to talk about Life Plus Cindy doing that, yeah? Where she'd be like, oh, I need this, and then like days later it'd show up in her P.O. box. That makes sense. But then it's also just like, people don't have to send him that stuff. It might be annoying to watch, knowing that that's what he's doing. Yeah, he didn't directly ask for a Bible. He just mentioned how nice it would be if he had one. And then a subscriber sent it to him. Yeah, I mean, I do understand why that's annoying. Is it like a character flaw? Like, is it an indictment on his character as a person? I don't know. I guess it depends on your feelings about that. For me, I'm just that girl that's like, I'm not gonna send it to you unless I like really care about you and like you enough to do it. I don't know. And in general, I guess maybe it's hard for me to care as a girl that's like not gonna give money to random internet YouTubers. Maybe? I don't know. Maybe. Like an Amazon wish list. Yeah, and like, I don't know. I think Amazon wish lists are normalized in a lot of ways as well. But see, this is also why I'm never gonna have a P.O. box and I'm never gonna have an Amazon wish list. Because some of y'all, whenever my breakup happened, were like, oh yeah, just start an Amazon wish list, so blah, 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 blah. Like, no, I'm not going to do that, because then someday, somewhere, there's going to be somebody that's like, oh, Zach was dry begging for a new tushy. Zach was dry... And it's like, no, I can buy my own tushy. I can try my own tushy. I can do what with my own tushy? I can buy my own tushy.
There is a lot of times where he has mentioned the price of items, and then his supporters of his channel will send him that amount of money to his Buy Me a Coffee. And there is some suspicion that potentially he buys that object to make his subscribers happy, he then potentially returns those objects to get the cash, but then also and pockets that, but then also is able to use those invoices as part of his, he believes everything that he does on YouTube is part of a write-off. And so he is always talking about the cost of gas. He actually just bought a truck that cost over $60,000, but he wanted his subscribers to make a donation for the cost of the gas in order to bring them the high quality content in order for him to be able to get his self to Nevada from Florida.
Well, that does feel kind of scammy. that does feel a little kind of scammy, because like, how is the whole point of your content going to be about how you live in an RV and travel the country, but then ask your subscribers to send you money for gas? Like, shouldn't that be a part of your business model? Like, where you account some, like, budgeting for gas so you can drive around the country? You know? That is a little weird. That is a little odd to me.
So that's the kind of thing that Tim tends to do. And his audience are people who may be older, who might be living on Social Security, might have limited finances, and not understanding, as you were trying to say, how much money Tim makes on YouTube. So he doesn't really, need that from his subscribers.
True.
He really is very happy to take it, and he really doesn't.
That is something I was concerned about, because it seemed to me like people were questioning if he was really making money on YouTube, but it seems like a more logical argument what she just said, which is that he's probably making plenty of money on YouTube to pay for gas, for instance. And yet he's still, like, asking people for that. I do think that things like gas, which seem to be an integral part of his channel, is like driving around this RV around the country. Like, that does seem like something, especially if he's, like, talking about being such a money wizard, that he should plan for. That would be, I'm like trying to think about something that I do on YouTube that, I mean, like, I don't have a lot of expenses that I have to plan for, because it's mostly just me sitting here in front of my computer with a camera. But I don't know. That would be, I guess, like a restaurant not accounting for, like, needing to buy the ingredients to cook the food and being like, dear clientele of this restaurant, please donate to our GoFundMe to like buy the ingredients so we can feed you. Like, that seems silly. And then, yeah, especially if he's trying to give financial advice on YouTube, for sure.
But for a few McDonald's coffee donations, there really is very little that Tim pays forward. And he's very bossy. We'll get into that in a minute. Number 6, and everybody knows this, Tim lacks expertise, but acts as if he is an expert. So his biggest video that blew up was him talking about Social Security. And that particular video garnered over 2 million views, but his mathematics were completely wrong, and I believe it was Miss Tammy who had to correct him, and he had to come back out. And a lot of people then started to make comments like, hey, this isn't right, you're not correct with these numbers, you shouldn't be letting people know this. And what Tim tends to do then is he actually deletes a lot of his comments. So you'll go to one of his videos and you might only find 30 comments, which is odd for a channel that has over 60-some thousand subscribers. Right. Go to my comment section, I have hundreds of comments, and I have them from both his followers who love to leave, comments, and also love to bombard my email and do things in order to intimidate me off of YouTube, and it doesn't work. And
I'd like to see someone try to intimidate me off of YouTube from old Sarasota Tim's community, because I promise you I've dealt with worse. I promise you I've dealt with worse than whatever Sarasota Tim's audience has to offer. I do think I would say it's also an issue if he's out here making a Social Security video and not providing accurate info. Like, that seems concerning. It feels like there should be a way to be like, YouTube, this guy is posting misinformation about something very serious that specifically targets a vulnerable demographic.
He tries to have control. So he does a lot of the things that you have mentioned about people like Amberlynn Reid and the way that they try to manipulate their comment sections and how they dirty delete videos off of YouTube.
Well, Amberlynn hasn't done a lot of dirty deleting, but Chantal dirty deletes a lot. Chantal dirty deletes a lot of videos off of YouTube. I would say Amber Lynn's comment section is heavily unmoderated by her, to be honest. Like, if she was deleting negative comments about herself, there would be no comments. What's a dirty delete? So when I say that Chantal dirty deletes like community posts or videos, it's like after she does something real fucking heinous, real fucking heinous, says slurs, says something real mean, rude, she'll just delete it like it never happened and act like it didn't happen, and lots of people in the community call that dirty deleting. I don't think Amber Lynn has moderated her comment section though in a very long time. Chantal does. Chantal absolutely does. Chantal like does so much. I think Amber Lynn is at least smart enough to know that even the bad engagement is good for her channel. Like, people coming to leave heinous comments on her channel is good for her. Like, Chantal's stupid for not realizing that that only helps her channel. But it is what it is. She puts things up just long enough for the intended audience to see it, and then bam, it's gone as if it never happened. Yeah. I think if Tim is deleting comments about him being just wrong about facts related to Social Security, that's fucked up. I think over the years, when it comes to like moderating comment section, I tend to go towards like, you do you, boo. like people will find a place to say what they want to say, which is obviously something that's happened to Tim. Like, they can't say it in his comment section, so they'll go other places. I mean, the barium exposure guy fully had a video on his channel that was like, did Tim delete your comments? Come say them in mine. Like, come say what you wanted to say in mine. So ultimately, I think it's like bad business. But like, also to some extent, if you want peace of mind and you don't want to see certain things, I guess you can delete it. The easier way to just not see things is to just not go to your comments section, but I don't know. Here we are.
And so those are things that he does, and he has a lack of expertise. He tries to tell everybody they're going to be dead by 73. He tries to tell them that doctors are killing people. The third leading cause of death in America are physicians, and this, that, and the other. He tells people not to go see their doctors. He tries to act like he's an expert on Medicare Advantage plans.
Okay, that's all fucked up if he's doing that. That's all fucked up for sure. Hi, I'm sewing, drinking wine, and this is the best thing to watch. Well, hello, Paige. Thanks for being here.
And he lives in a completely different state. He really tries to give, because he can use this as taglines, and then he can say this is financial advice, and then he gets the AdSense that goes along with it. He also is probably hoping he's going to hit another one of those algorithm jackpots like he had in the past. And that's one of the reasons how a lot of people who are older people found Tim on YouTube. Right. And then it became, and it's not just sort of using a patriarchy. I'm somebody who's very much not in the patriarchy, and I'm somebody who finds the advice that he is giving people to be problematic, because he didn't save and prepare. Now, if people did prepare and save, I had family of mine who RV'd, and I think I would encourage that. And we have other channels such as Sharing the Journey that share their RV life, and I don't think anybody sees that they're problematic. But Tim doesn't know anything about being in an RV. He dumps dirty black water around.
Dirty black water? Is that like poo-poo pee-pee loan water? Is that what dirty black water is?
He is on BLM land, and he is firing off, things with bullets left, right, and center. There's a lot of things.
He's on BLM land. Is that something he said? In regards to, this is where I need like more context. And also, we did see that he has gun content, and that makes me uncomfy, but here we are.
Things that Tim does that are problematic. Okay, number 7, he dirty deletes.
We did just talk about that.
And when he was talking about
BLM land is Bureau of Land Management, not Black Lives Matter. Cool. That's so chill. I thought it was in my head, BLM is Black Lives Matter, so I was like, what the fuck does this mean? But Bureau of Land Management makes a lot more sense. In context, it makes a lot more sense. Black water is the poop and pee, yes. Gray water is wastewater from non-toilet plumbing systems, such as showers, bathtubs, washing machines, and sinks, I see. So he's just dumping his piss and pee wherever? I'm sure there's, like, some regulations to that. That's crazy. That's nuts that he just dumps it wherever he wants. That's kind of fucked up. Be considerate, my brother. Don't worry, he's been reported.
You know, his haters being AIs and bots, which obviously I am not. I am a professional. I am in school, like I said. And so I look at people like Tim, and a lot of my classmates have agreed with this, that, you know, it's very important for us studying psychiatry to kind of look at social media, not only how it can influence people in the respect that it can cause issues around, you know, with youth and, you know, potentially issues around depression, which is my next topic in my class.
I will say, I'm very skeptical, especially of people who are not, like, even done with their schooling, of, like, folks coming and, like, I don't know, maybe it is the young, dumb honey bun of it all, but I'm just like, girl, get your degree first, at the very least, and then second of all, like, you don't know Tim, you know, like, we just know what we see on the internet, which, like, we could talk, like, I think what she also is kind of talking about here, like, tangentially, is just, like, in general, the concept of how social media impacts people's mental health, which I'm sure is something that she's studying and learning about in school and things like that. But I just as by way of suggestion, if you're watching this, there once was a YouTuber named Young Dumb Honey Bun, and one of the biggest criticisms she got was saying that she was a psychology student or whatever, and because of that, you know, she had all kinds of expertise on, like, diagnosing the girls, and I just don't want you to necessarily fall down that path. You know, people in the chat are saying that you've been a nurse for many years, so, like, I trust that you are a professional. I just take pause and caution when I hear things like that. You know, you feel me? Like, I think just take a moment of pause. Ray is 50 years old, so in my eyes very different than young dumb honey bun in her early 20s. Again, not necessarily about the age, just about, like, the way that it's being portrayed, right? Like, we shouldn't shame older women for going back to school. It's hard enough to find the courage. Who was that? Somebody in my chat shaming her for going back to school? Wait, maybe. I swear old ladies like her, my grad program would bring up social media with BC or because of their kid. Oh, I see. That's probably not a response to me. Okay, I just want to make sure. There is somebody in the chat that is talking about old ladies in their grad program. But yeah, like, just use caution. I'm not saying you're right or you're wrong. I'm just saying use caution is all I'm saying. Like, you know, you feel me? I think that's reasonable. That's just a piece of feedback. You know? You feel me? I don't know. I don't think that's also... I also don't think any of this is an indictment of... Did you say her name is Ray? I don't think that's an indictment of Ray's character either. Just a word of caution.
But it also can be about how people who can be very manipulative can use it to their advantages. And we see this all the time when it comes to financial bros and people who are selling products. Sure. And even makeup gurus. Just there's so many different ways.
Because also what I will say is, like, if we're just in general talking about the ways people are manipulated with that, like, I don't think you need, like, a psychology or psychiatry background to see the ways that people, like, potentially Sarasota Tim is being manipulative, right? Like, that's all I'm saying. Like, we can discuss, like, behavior that feels manipulative, and I don't have like a psychiatry degree.
How this ability of this mass communication very much, you know, from what seems like, you know, somebody who's just a regular normal person and the consumer of the content, it doesn't mean that you're, you know, purchasing, but you are consuming the content, how that affects people. And so I have a particular interest in how people who potentially are in the triad, as it's known, people with Machiavellian personalities, people with subclinical narcissism, people with subclinical psychopathy, how they can potentially use the internet to influence people and use it to their advantages.
I'm sorry, like, I'm spacing out for all of that, because, like, is she suggesting that Tim is one of those things? Like, I don't know. I spaced out for a little bit for all of that.
And so I'm always very clear about this. I do not treat or diagnose, but I do have an interest, which is why I have covered a number of different creators in the past. Now, Tim Dirty deleted, obviously, a video that I did a reaction on where he talks about his PPP, EIDL loans, his unemployment, and talked much more honestly about how he used those monies to pay off debts. And he had no business that continued after that, and he seemed to have never had any employees. So that makes it questionable as to why you've had over $80,000 of EIDL with a business that seemed to shut down while he was receiving unemployment, never started back up again, relied only on him going door to door and knocking on people's doors, but yet needed somehow $80-some thousand to keep its stores open, of which its stores never seemingly, in my opinion, remained open. And that's what we find questionable. He also flashed his...
Yes, he flashed his entire what? At this point, it's very clear people are upset about the PPP loans, the pee-poo-poo-poo loans. I got that.
In my opinion, remained open. And that's what we find questionable. He also flashed his entire audience completely naked in a refrigerator. So he was filming a video. He was naked while filming it. So he obviously understood he was naked. He was opening up his blinds in a parking lot. So he was filming his neighbors' RVs while naked. So had one of his neighbors looked out the window, they would have seen naked Tim. So for all of those with the, you know, hear me out on the cake, take a look at some of our videos. You can go see Tim, you know, filming in the camera where he swoops past his refrigerator.
Wait, she's talking to N Biddy and the 14 other people in chat that said that you would put him on your hear me out cake. I love that she referenced the hear me out cake. Ray, thank you so much. But that is crazy that he filmed himself naked and like seemingly unintentionally shared that in a video. Like, you can actually see him naked in a video he posted on YouTube? I'm assuming that this was dirty deleted because it's in the dirty deleted section of this.
With the shining surface that gave you it was a full look of Tim. Okay, so you can hear that one out on the cake. But yeah, he deleted that one, obviously. But people had to ask him to delete it. So he did not understand why it was wrong for him to have a video of him just showing off his naked body.
Listen, ain't nothing wrong with a naked body. Probably not appropriate for YouTube. Probably not appropriate for YouTube, but that's crazy.
They're on YouTube. Yeah. Tim dirty deletes a lot. That's a problem. And number 8, Tim is a channel striker. And
well, also, it sounds like he should have deleted that one for his own good, because that could have gotten his channel removed, you know?
Tim dirty deletes a lot. That's a problem. And number 8, Tim is a channel striker and asks his subs to do the same. So he has not only asked, he's asked openly on his channel for his subscribers to mass report channels like mine who make reactions around his, and he's actually had channels removed. And he's also
try me Tim. Try me Sarasota Tim.
Flag channels for inappropriate content when there was none there, and they've had to fight and claw their channels back. Ask Darling about that one. So Tim does a lot of things that are very low-cal. Let's just put it that way.
It sounded like she said low-cal, but I think she meant lol-cal. Like, as in lol-cal live.
Number 9. I put this one in here, and you should understand this. He just plain out hates dogs. He doesn't think they should be in hotels. He doesn't understand why people have dogs in beds. He hates dogs. And
that makes him an awful person. I agree. Panda, thanks so much for 7 months of subscribing with Prime. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. No, honestly though, like, I don't know, dogs don't have to be for everybody, but I do understand why it's a a red flag, a beige flag.
Somebody who has a lack of compassion for animals, to me, that's always something I find interesting.
Also, like, listen, I love dogs, but do they have to be in all public places? Like, Poe shouldn't be in all public places. Let me just tell you that. He's a mess. But if you just hate dogs in general, I do agree it's a red flag.
Yeah, he can't take care of anything. He's too selfish, and that leads me to point number 10. He seems to have a lack of empathy for others. And I think that's problematic as well. This has been highlighted with the infamous, what's known as Miss Tammy's Shingate, where he watched supposedly his girlfriend or his collaborator hit a metal staircase going up into an RV, and he just continued filming it and seemed to actually laugh and find enjoyment in the activity and offered her no help or support. Didn't seem to think it was a moment to even put the camera down.
Not Shingate. Not Shingate.
He's bossy. He will be seen on the golf course just telling his friends, his randos, what to do, and just continue to tell people what to do. Very self-centered. It's really about Tim. Last time he was his friends, he was eating alone in a Mexican restaurant. They probably realized if they went out to eat with Tim, they would be comping the meal, because that's kind of what he anticipates. I mean, he was given thousands of dollars of golf clubs by these people.
Sometimes you need a bossy bottom. Sometimes you just need a bossy bottom.
We're not talking about a golfing company sending him a product to highlight on their channel, share an affiliate link. I mean, he has those too, but he used to actually have products, but I think he would do the commercial and then he would actually sell the product. He wouldn't keep it used. Like this one, I got my tennis bracelet on and I love this thing, guys. Okay, well, that's 10. I'm sure you guys have other reasons. These kind of covered the personality areas, I guess, and it kind of covers there for his actions rather than just the bigger picture of just some older guy, I should say, because he's only a few years older than I am, 10 years older, living in an RV and making the best of life and crushing it. He's somebody who potentially has manipulated the taxpayers' funds to get this kind of start on his channel. And like I said, his advice has been really bad for people. It's been almost to the point where Dr. Ed Weir had to pull himself out of retirement in order to combat a lot of the misinformation that is being given by these types of folks like Sarasota Tim. He has actually had some cases, I understood, of harm done to individuals who followed his advice. I had somebody who left comments letting me know that they had followed his advice and it had not worked out very well for them. And so I think he's not highlighting, they're not bringing in all this money from a YouTube channel or getting, a lot of money. If you ever check out his Buy Me a Coffee, he does not show the names now, but he gets a lot. Some of them are just hate donations. It's wild. Anyway, those are my 10 reasons why people find Sarasota Tim's content to be problematic on YouTube. I hope you all enjoyed that, and we'll get you on the next one.
Well,
bye.
Damn. I'm kind of tempted to go see old Sarasota Tim's. I didn't know you could look and see. I didn't know you could look and see what chilling inside the Super Crasher 2024 Flagstaff 25 FKBS. I don't need to see him cook, but I didn't know you could see the Buy Me a Coffee stuff. Where do I go to see his, I didn't know you could see, how much money he's making. Oh. Someone bought 5 coffees, 20 coffees, 5 coffees. But how often is he getting these? 1 coffee is $5? So somebody 20 times 5, $100? That's crazy. $100. That's crazy. All right. Well, what do y'all think? Do we feel like we have a better understanding of why people don't like the old Sarasota Tim? Are we sure that money is for coffee? I think in general, the Buy Me a Coffee thing isn't actually about going and spending it on coffee. But I think what he's spending it on is the concern of some of these haters, Anyways, oh my gosh, an hour and a half of content you all got from me today. Lucky you all. Y'all are so lucky. That's all I have time for today, YouTubies. I'm going to stick around and say goodbye to the Twitch folks real quick, but thank you so much for watching, YouTubies. Bye! Subscribe!